Hello out there and welcome. My name is Sharon Frosch and I am the Chief Operating Officer for the Discover Your Path U platform, where we believe that every life can teach and everyone can grow. To that end, I am also the host of this show, The Connection Sessions, where we bring together practitioners, entrepreneurs, marketers, artists, spiritualists, mentors, and students in an effort to connect to community, learn from each other, and grow. Today, I have a very unique woman with me who does an incredibly small niche of coaching that I think should be a much larger niche, and that is she is a manifestation coach. Crystal Allen teaches her clients how to utilize the pre-existing force of manifestation, which exists for all of us in our lives, in an everyday way to structure and create the lives that we are looking to have. So, Crystal, absolutely incredible and fascinating way that you deal with coaching. And I'm just hoping that you might take some time to kind of explain to us, what is manifestation coaching, and how did you get into this really amazing line?
Hi, Sharon. I would like to thank you for letting me come and share my message.
Pleasure.
And again, I'm Crystal Allen, and I'm the founder of MindFly Holistic. And yes, I am a manifestation coach, and my passion is to teach others how to stop trying to manifest in their lives and actually start being a creator, which is what we are innately, that is what we naturally are. So what is manifestation? A lot of us have heard of the term law of attraction at this point. It kind of was put out there into society by the book The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, and although it's something that's been it's just another universal law, just as the law of gravity, and it's been in existence since the beginning of time, it sort of just became mainstream because it's something that's been suppressed by society for eons. The people who were in charge so many centuries ago, they did not want us to know our personal power.
No.
They wanted us to fall in line and do what they wanted to do, and so they hid the secret, which is why it came out as The Secret. And oftentimes people still think of it as The Secret, but it's not a secret anymore. It is the law of attraction, and basically, to put it simply, everything consists of energy. If you look back to science in grade school, we learned that everything is composed of atoms. And in every atom, we have electrons and protons, but mostly we have space. Yeah. And that space is energy. So everything in existence, from my desk that I'm sitting at, to my pencil, to my hair, to the words that I speak, to the thoughts that I think, everything consists of energy. And the way that I like to relate this with people is that the language that energy speaks is vibration. And a good analogy I like to throw out there, if you went to, say, a workshop or a seminar, and you were in a room full of 100 people, and 98 of those people spoke a foreign language to you, and 2 of them spoke your language, your native language. Now, who would you be attracted to in that group? The people who spoke your language. And that is the same as the law of attraction. That's the basis for the law of attraction. So if everything, so if everything vibrates, it has its own vibrational frequency. So everything has a different level of vibration. So sad thoughts are a low vibrational frequency. Happy thoughts are a high vibrational frequency. Those are the language of those thoughts. Now, with the law of attraction, like vibration attracts other like vibrations. Just as in my example of when we wanted to speak with someone who, speaks our native tongue, it's the same with vibration. It wants to speak with other events, other thoughts, other anything that is on that same frequency. So that is probably the easiest way to explain the law of attraction. And basically what I'm wanting to do is teach people that manifestation is not hard. We kind of grasp the concept of being this, like, it's almost like a workshop that we ordered, or a textbook that we ordered in the mail, and we have to like study it and figure it out, and maybe some people don't. You know, how many times have you ordered something and then just left it on the shelf and forgotten about it, and so you think you're not manifesting? What I'm trying to teach everyone is that we're manifesting 24/7. We're constantly manifesting. However, what's happening is people are manifesting on default mode. So they're kind of walking around in their life sort of just reacting to everything that they come across. So I stub my toe, I react to it, I'm in a low vibe now. Something good happens to me, so now I'm reacting and I have a high vibe. So what's happening is, while we're in this constant limbo, like a teeter-totter of up and down vibrations, we're attracting good things and we're attracting bad things. So what I'm trying to teach people is how to focus their energy, focus their thoughts, and focus their vibration, so that they can consistently maintain a high vibration and in turn attract high vibrational things. So
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Go. I'm sorry.
No, please go. Tell us how you. I'm fascinated to. I want to know how the idea to coach that. I have to know.
Okay. It's really a long, kind of drawn out story, but I guess when it really truly hit me was 2 years ago. I was diagnosed with cancer, and throughout my life, I had learned by my experiences that we attract illness by being in a negative space. Now, for a long time, I didn't truly understand what that power was. I wasn't introduced to the law of attraction until The Secret came out, and what was that? Maybe 8-9 years ago now.
As well.
But I did understand that there was a reason why I attracted the cancer. Now, to kind of rewind and give you the backstory, I was always a very psychically gifted child from far back as I can remember. And I also was able to pick up on spirits around me. I was one of those, I guess you would say, indigo children or crystal children, the ones who were born sort of different from all of society, the ones who really couldn't relate to their own peers. But it's sort of like I was an old soul. I had this deeper understanding of how the world and life worked. Now, what happened was I came from a very, very rough upbringing. So my physical person was dealing with low self-esteem, low self-worth. And I also did not have any kind of training or support to know what to do with all these gifts. And what began to happen is I started to attract negative entities all around me. They sort of were just always there. And I began to fear my gifts. And eventually I asked God, I said, God, just take these from me, please. Just take it. I don't want it. And it happened instantly. It was gone. So I sort of lived my life in this default, running around just trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life. And I'm blocking the gifts. They're gone. But what happened was I met my twin flame. And what twin flames do is they bring out your biggest, deepest battles in life, okay?
Yes.
So what happened was, once that journey, I was with the twin flame for 3 years, and once that was over, I had an awakening. I had a deep inner awakening, and my gifts began to flood back in. I began to address all the things in my life that I had been diminishing. I began to live authentically and open up myself to all of me, to my source. And I heard one day, and I suddenly heard, you need to write a book. Now, I didn't know what it was about, and Source got tired of me trying to figure it out. So soon after, I received a download, and it was an instant imprint of thought. It was like an idea so many ideas at once. It was what the book was about, what it was called, and the book was about my journey to healing. And Source also told me that at the completion of my book would be the completion of my healing journey. Okay, so I began writing that book probably 4 years ago now, and I continued to sort of live life and try to come into my authentic self, but I hadn't put all the pieces together yet. But when I was diagnosed with cancer 2 years ago, it hit me that I was not living my fullest life. I was not living my purpose. I wasn't living my dream. I wasn't doing all those things that I really came here on this earth to do. And I understood that if I didn't do that now, I was going to die. Like I knew that deep within my soul, that it would take me following my purpose to then live. And that's what I did. That's when I started my business. During chemotherapy, I started my business.
Wow. I love the name of your business, MindFly Holistic. Is that a download? How did that name come?
Absolutely was. I do not name things. Like, even throughout my book, all the chapters, I'm still trying to figure out names for, because I've never even been able to name pets. I don't know what it is with me and naming things, but it's just always been a block. So one day, I just got a downfly. MindFly, that's your name. I was like, thank you.
So the name of your book is Journey to the Center of Light, correct?
Yes, and that was also given to me by Source.
Wow. So what I'm hearing is an extremely powerful young child who shuts everything down, and then through a series of adversities has been brought back to that place of fully owning her own gifts.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
That's
what.
a powerful journey. I love the way that you talk about how everything is energy. And I know that I'm 45, and that as I was growing up, we were still locked heavily into the Newtonian view of science, which is that apples are made out of little apple pieces, and doors are made out of little door pieces, and concrete's made out of little concrete pieces. But in actuality, the atom itself is 99.99999 empty space. And what's not empty space, the electron, the neutron, and the proton, are actually all made out of the same stuff. So the difference between a metal atom and the atom of an apple is the number of electrons and protons inside the atom, which are actually made of the same stuff. So looking at metal and looking at an apple, you're just looking at different, if we consider the components tennis balls, metal has a different number of tennis balls than an apple atom does, but it's all tennis balls.
Right.
And I think that's something that we fail to understand because we've been locked into this Newtonian view of the world around us, that we're all made of, that's what unity is.
Yes.
We're all made of the same stuff.
Exactly. And that's something I really try to teach too, because it also shows us that we are all God. We are all Source.
Preach.
So people just think that, okay, there's this amazing power that God has, but we are not worthy of that power. But oh my God, we are that power. So all we have to do is get our ego out of the way and let our inner being come out and just naturally create, because we're doing it constantly. We're creating. When I think something, I've already created it so fast you can't even measure the time. But the problem is that so many people are holding it back from coming to them, that thing that they've created. It's there. It's in a dimension. It's not in our dimension yet, but it's been created. Now, how are we going to get out of our way and let it come to us?
Exactly.
And it's so much easier than everyone thinks.
Well, I also think that people fail to understand that when you focus on the fact that I want something,
Yes.
you can't want something that you already have. Just the wanting itself implies the absence of the very thing that you are trying to attract. So how do you help a client who comes to you for help in attracting a different kind of life identify that focusing on the absence allows the absence to continue to happen?
I try really hard to teach from example and to truly get across the fact that once I stopped trying was when everything happened for me. Once I stopped trying to control what came to me. I was a type A personality. I was a control freak. I always was in management because I had to do things my way or it wasn't going to get done right. And the moment that I let that go,
Yes.
was like a gate just opened, and all the manifestations that I'd ever wanted to bring in just started pouring into my life. So first of all, we work on digging into the past, because it is so important to find out where these beliefs came from. Like for me, where did I get the idea that I had to do everything myself? I figured that out, and now I understand where that limiting belief came from. And now once I understand it, I can let it go. So that's what we do first, is dig into the limiting beliefs and where they came from, and then we work to change them. And I have several different tools for changing them. But to me, awareness is always the first thing.
Yes.
To changing anything.
You can't change it if you don't even know it.
Right. Yes.
So
yes.
How do you help a client? Because I'm sure as a life coach, you know that when a client feels attacked, they shut down. And often where you would think that sharing with somebody that you were the creator of your own world would be this amazing, liberating experience where you'd be like, oh my God, that's awesome. They actually tend to kind of shut down and feel like they're being attacked, because with creation comes responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you help a client kind of get past that fear of responsibility to truly step into and own that creative power?
Well, this might sound a little bit, I don't know. Okay. So the first thing is they have got to be ready. Okay.
Yes.
They have to be seeking the answers, right? So there's several different kinds of people. There's people who subconsciously want to stay where they're at. They don't want to heal. They don't want to acknowledge the fact that they are responsible for their lives. Those people are not, I can't help them yet. They're not in the space. They're not at the right frequency or near the right frequency to even hear me. Because again, frequency is a language. And if you're too far down on the spectrum of vibration, you can't even hear what I'm saying. Have you ever noticed that? I mean, we've all noticed, if you have a room full of people listening to the same person, they all hear something different because they're all on a different vibration. So they're all literally, their reality experience is different.
Yes, I have.
Sitting next to them.
Isn't that powerful? Our chief spiritual officer, Andrea Hendren, is with us watching right now, and she's really enjoying this conversation. And one of the most profound things that I think I've ever heard her say is we were having a conversation, a deep spiritual conversation, and she pointed out we're using all the same words that people who aren't at this level use. They just mean different things because our consciousness has changed. But we could sit and say these exact same words till we're blue in the face, and the realization, the enlightenment of what they mean at this level will not reach someone who's not at that frequency yet.
Exactly. So what I'm doing is I'm attracting the people who are close enough to my frequency to be ready to hear those things, to be ready to accept that. And once they hear it, it actually clicks and they get aha moments rather than defensiveness. And honestly, there's been a few people who I have talked to and chatted with about my services who just weren't ready. And you just sometimes have to say, I'm sorry, I don't think we're going to be a match. And eventually they might be, and you want to keep them in your circle and still provide content and value for them. But until they're ready, they're not going to hear you.
Okay, so I have a question that I have to know the answer from. You said that I am attracting people that are at my frequency. Are you using conscious law of attraction methods in order to actually attract your own client base? Because I have to know. Tell me.
Absolutely. When I first started my business, I I didn't even have to try to get clients because I just knew this is what I want, and people just started messaging me. I would follow. Now, here's the one thing I teach a lot of is following divine inspiration, because when we're high vibrational, we're connected. This is how I think of it. When we come into the planet, we're already connected to source. Babies are very connected, but as social conditioning happens, it's like this funnel that sort of gets closed. Yep. to our connection to source, because we're told these things, you're not worthy, and blah blah blah. But this funnel sort of closes. So as we learn to control our vibration and raise it high enough to connect, this funnel opens back up. And what happens when the funnel opens is we start receiving constant downloads, inspirations, ideas, urges, anything it is, whatever it is that they want us to know, that is going to get us to where we want to go. And the idea is that they're there and we hear them all the time, but you have to follow them. So if I get an urge to make a post about something specific, I have to stop what I'm doing and make that post, because it's my instructions from school. Now, and those are the types of things that lead to getting clients, because source knows if you make this post right now, there's someone right now who needs to hear this. And they're in this group, and when they hear this, they're going to ask you for more information. So that's just part of my message, is it's not hard. You don't have to try so much. You just have to let go of control, get into the ease. It's like the river that Esther Hicks talks about. Just float down the river and allow, and stop trying to paddle upstream. Because to me, when we're trying, we're paddling upstream. And when we stop trying, we just start floating and letting the river current take us. And it takes us to where we want to go.
It is interesting how backwards the programming is from society, that if you do enough, then you will get. And the truth is, if you stop trying to control everything and just let what is be,
right,
then the magic that you're looking for, that you're trying so hard to control, just flourishes in that moment of now.
Absolutely.
That's such a powerful message. And unfortunately, it is not a message that even a lot of life coaches teach. Even a lot of life coaches get caught in the idea that if I learn the right number of modalities, if I get this technique exactly like this person taught me, then I'll be ready to life coach, not understanding that, well, you're just replicating something that's already out there. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to be ourselves.
Right. And that's kind of like what I was mentioning earlier, this concept of like the law of attraction is like we have to do an exercise, or we have to do a ritual, or we have to do all these tasks for it to work. And it can help if you don't have resistance to those things you're wanting. But it's all just kind of more efforting that's happening. It's all just more not letting go. It's all just more controlling. Like, you see so many times people are like, I want to manifest $1 million, so I'm going to do all these rituals. Well, if you have a limiting belief and you have resistance around getting $1 million, all this efforting is not what's going to get it to you. It's learning how to let go of the fact that, first of all, I don't have to determine where the money is going to come from.
Yes.
It's just going to come in many ways. And that's another thing, is a lot of people are trying so hard to decide where the source of what they want is coming from. And they're hindering their progress by doing that.
Trying to figure it out and control it again.
Yeah.
It is interesting to note that the idea of the individual self, the self that creates, the self that causes, or causes the effects that it sees, is literally the stumbling block to getting what that self says that it wants.
Yeah.
And when you truly understand and embrace that and grasp that, much like somebody who's struggling in a net, the more you struggle, the more profoundly caught in that belief system that you get.
I love that analogy. I like that a lot.
Because We can never win out. The book of Alcoholics Anonymous discusses how alcoholics will never be able to win out in single-handed combat against this thing. And I think that's true in everything, that if we are from a source of, I am my individual self separate from everything else I see, there's no way for that individual self to win out in single-handed combat against anything, because it's in our connections and the sharing of our energy that we rise.
Right, because we are all of one energy. We are all of one source.
We are all literally made of the same thing. We are not only the witness, we are what is being witnessed at the same time.
Exactly. Yes.
Such powerful stuff. I wish we could go on forever, but unfortunately we are already at the end of our half hour. So thank you so much for being with me here today, Crystal. This has been an absolutely fascinating conversation on one of my favorite subjects. I want to go ahead and acknowledge Monique and Andrea, who are with us here today. If you come by after and see this video, after we're no longer live, drop us a hashtag replay. Let us know that you were here. If you are interested in what Crystal's been talking about, which, come on, guys, who would not be interested in this? All of her contact information is available on this Facebook Live. You can get a hold of her, instigate a conversation with her, find out what she's about, get a better understanding of the services that she offers that can help you, because Lord knows each one teach one, and that's how we rise. So thank you to everybody who is here today, who's been watching and who will come behind. For those of you who are regular viewers, on Monday of next week, I will not be here. My colleague, Beth Gray, will be handling the session that day, but it will be at the same place and the same time on Monday. So thank you, everyone who's been here. And as always, have an absolutely wonderful weekend, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Namaste.